D4G Champions League quarterfinal.
Dive in it. Dive in it. Dive in it. What do you think about them? Dive in it. Dive in it. Dive in it. Dive in it.
Yeah, welcome back, Champions League. Changing shit up for the Champions League. I'm coming out with a new formation and new tactics and all that shit. Mr. Pep Corsiola, your host with Sir Solomon. What to do?
So you're just gonna sit back?
Just gonna sit. Apparently,
it was a big game.
It's a huge game. I am about to lay back and just let Solomon do all the all the talk. Don't forget, man, Diving for Glory, we post every Monday and every Thursday after Champions League, which is rapidly coming to an end. You can check us on iTunes, on YouTube, and on divingforglory.com. Don't forget Facebook and Twitter at Diving for Glory. We're going to jump right into it, man. Just the Cup, Boots, Lace, Jersey Tug, D4G, let's go. All right, yeah, it's a good episode, man. Thanks for tuning in, and appreciate that. We're going to start you off Anfield.
Oh, okay. Yes. After Anfield.
Hosting Porto.
Yes, the Portuguese, the Dragons, as they're called, led by 98-year-old Iker Casillas, came into town, and Liverpool hosted them. The only way to describe this would be comfortably. It was a 5th-minute goal by Naby Keita got them going, and they were 2-0 up in 26 minutes. Had us thinking that it was going to be somewhat like last year's game where they rocked them 5-0. But they kind of took their feet off the brakes a little bit, started moving the ball a little slower in the second half. Like, they're comfortable enough in their lead, and they're willing to, rest up for Chelsea.
2-0 Porto. Do they stand any chance second leg here at home?
Since we watched Manchester United come back from whatever last time,
it's hard to say.
You can always have to say blah blah blah, right? But I think that this year's iteration of Liverpool just looks much more mature, and I don't see the team with, like, the bigger issue I'd have is if Porto scores early and then some shit happens, then it might lead to a situation where Virgil van Dijk might have a suspension in the next round or something. But, like, with him in the starting lineup, I don't think that Porto has enough to offer to really challenge him,
Yeah, to stop Liverpool from scoring an away goal and to score enough goals themselves looks like a tall task.
Because if you just stop Liverpool from scoring a away goal, you still have to score 2-0 just to take it to overtime. Mm-hmm. And what was seen of Porto on this past Tuesday doesn't suggest that they have it in them.
It's hard enough for any team to score in Liverpool. With the way they've been playing this year. So
ever since the Virgil van Dijk purchase, which was like last season January, the second half of the season, they were one of like 2 or 3 clubs, like the best 2 or 3 clubs in defense. Even this season, it's been extremely, extremely difficult to get the ball across the line against them, and I think that they're through to the next round.
That is quite amazing. Where are you, where's your real, Liverpool's top 5 in the world squad this year? Top 3?
Yeah, I would say
not clear. It's not a year where it's clear who the best team is.
That's the thing. That's I'm not as good as at actually putting the top 5 together, but I would say that they're the top tier team. They got to last year's Champions League final and got better. And they are closer in the league. They've got more points than they did last year. Like they give up less. So when you toss in the experience of the run they had last season, I think that this is it's going to take a much bigger team than Porto to really put them to the sword.
Word up. All right. Stay in the group or stay on the day? Stay on the group. So let's talk about the Manchester United Barcelona. So I'm hoping Barcelona goes through for any number of reasons, but I'm really interested in Liverpool Barcelona. Manchester United, though, at home against Barcelona, predictable approach, you could say. Thoughts on the game? You watched it all.
Barca scored early in this game, and it was a very, very weird game. Like, Barca got to control a lot of the ball, did a lot of damage in that sense, but the physicality of Manchester United really took the punch out of a lot of things, you know? And the referee, I think Italian referee, really let a lot go. So even though they had 67% ball possession, they only took six shots.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Out of which they had three on target and a goal, whereas Manchester United took 10 shots and
nothing on target.
That's if
no
you
big
consider
chances.
all those fucking wayward misses that Marcus Rashford did to be shots, but they never really created anything of consequence. The few times that they looked like it did, Gerard Piqué really, who had an amazing game against his ex-team. He really took out a lot of fires, but the rest of the defenders and Sergi Busquets were very wasteful in possession and gave away the ball and had to track back and foul a lot, you know. And Busquets picked up a yellow. I think Lenglet also picked up a yellow. Jordi Alba, even though he was doing good football, was also kind of all over the place.
So I know we talked last episode about approach to these games, and when it's all said and done, this could have been way worse for Manchester United. I mean, they have to feel relatively okay, actually, about this result.
Yeah, I mean, they needed to score to win the tie, and they still need a goal. A goal will take them to penalties. So, before 0-0 would take them to penalties, right? So the expectation has shifted slightly, but considering you're in a Champions League matchup with Barcelona in this current stage, Barca is 11 points clear in the league. Manchester United is
they're
infinity
out, not even
points
top four, yeah.
away. So, and the way they're playing, that they play them, if it's maintainable, then that's the old school Mourinho style of getting really extremely physical with them, not bothering with anything much else, and try to get them on the counterattack. And the worrying part about that was that the Barca defense was very messy with the ball, and that is how they scored 2 of their 3 goals against PSG. The third was a penalty that got VAR'd.
So do you anticipate, in light of all that, do you anticipate United having even a similar approach for most of the game next game, and then waiting till and hoping that?
I think their approach is what it is. It's not going to change. It doesn't really change much anyways. Manchester United is a team that's based on sitting back and trying to counterattack. And that's what our good friend Louis van Gaal went out of his way to explain to everybody, and then it's true, you know. But worrying things about them. Martial is back. Lingard is back. Their midfield trio won't remain Fred, McTominay, and which was actually a blessing in disguise. They played really good, but I don't think that trio can hold up again. And they're getting guys back from injury, so going into it 1-0, they can rah-rah themselves. If they can get an early goal, they can be a problem. But, you know, if the way they started this game, if they start the second game that same way, it's going to be done, because it took a few minutes before they even touched the ball.
Okay. And that'll be at the Camp Nou, so a whole different proposition.
The goal that was scored, what was the stat we were seeing? 47 passes?
No. Yep.
And you know they didn't even score the goal themselves. Luke Shaw scored the goal, so 47 touches was just to set him up.
Oh, man. All right, so Barcelona with the away goal, 1-0 over Manchester United. Liverpool, 2 home goals, 2-0 over Porto. Move along to Tuesday's other match. In the other group, Tottenham hosting Manchester City in the second game ever at whatever the stadium is. White Hart Lane. I don't know what the fuck to call it, man. Whatever.
We don't call it the Fortress because they have not got scored at this new miracle of football since it's been created. Let's what is it?
Asian domination.
That's what I was gonna say. I was like, what's that border between North and South Korea? We could name it after that. You know?
The DMZ, the militarized zone.
Yes, you know what I'm saying? Because Pep put down all his weapons before he went there, you know, and he lost to South Korea.
And he man, it was I think that was something that I don't think many people could have called up front or did call up front was that Pep would be the conservative one in this matchup.
In retrospect, which I have to say this, like I had completely forgotten a lot of things about it, but when I looked back, you know how many quarterfinal first away legs Pep has won?
Only because you told me yesterday.
One.
Yes.
So, like in retrospect, I'm surprised we were much there was a much more rah-rah feel about it. I don't think he even particularly minds losing the first leg. But that being said, he sent his team out there with their hands tied behind their back to get their ass beat. And for that, he's still going to have to answer for it because he had weapons that he could use. So he set up with up front Aguero, who shouldn't have really been playing, as we saw, because he got pulled, and Sterling and Mahrez. We don't know why Mahrez was selected, but we were thinking Pep Guardiola, he has a plan for him. He did absolutely nothing.
My boy called that shit too. I was like, "Are you serious?"
Yeah, he looked like he should be back in Leicester City playing with Wes Morgan, you know. And then in midfield, Bernardo pulls up before the game.
Yep.
So who do you have? You have Fernandinho, who brought all the dirt. He was the dirtiest motherfucker since homeless people stopped taking showers.
Yeah.
Gundogan, who was fine.
Yeah. I thought for me he was a little shaky in the first half. He got way better in the second half. It was just an odd. I guess it was the selection of both of them together, which is something. Number one, I bet you if you went back this year, you'd only see maybe once, and the two-man pivot maybe 2 times this year, and probably the only other time they played together.
And honestly, I don't think that they executed the orders they were told to do properly. They didn't have bad games. Sure. Don't get me wrong, but there was a Kevin De Bruyne-sized hole in the middle of the field that looked to be exploited. There was a Leroy Sané-sized big-ass gap on the wing that looked to be exploited. And they were sitting there twiddling their thumbs while, we're like, yo, it's open. Just bring in the guy that we know can do this.
And it was one of those, it was an easy switch, too, because Sterling wasn't doing shit. So you just move him. He wasn't doing shit on the left. You just put him on the right. Exactly. Put him on the right, bring Sané in. What the fuck? It seemed real simple from the viewer's standpoint, and to your point, they looked like they went out and followed their marching orders. And the marching orders are the weird thing here.
David Silva plays beautiful further up the field when Kevin De Bruyne is back there just playing some Pirlo-style football and accelerating from midfield. In this game, David Silva didn't do as much as he usually does. He was kind of...
There was a gap in between the double pivot and Silva in the front. In the first half. In the second half, you could see that was, to me, it looked clear instruction from Pep, yo, you motherfuckers Ilkay and Silva, y'all need to meet up in the middle of the field, because they weren't doing it in the first half at all.
Because fucking Eriksen was having his way with the middle, and he was never covered. I'm like, you have 2 defensive midfielders, and why is this guy not even covered?
And your shakiest center back, as far as with the ball at his feet, you started him.
On the left side, next to your shakiest left back.
The guy who just came back from being out for a month as well. First came back. He played 90 minutes. There's question marks all over the field.
Fucking Delph. Is Ben Mendy dead?
He played, his first game back was again in the FA Cup game.
If Ben Mendy can play 90 minutes and then he dies, just play him, man.
Just play him. Just fucking play him.
Like Ledley King used to be for Tottenham. Play him, then you don't have to practice, dude. Go to China again and shit,
Yeah.
But what's the fucking point? How many seasons are we going to sit around waiting for this guy to show up?
Yeah. No. He's been injured most of the time, and then when he hasn't been injured, he's been partying.
No, he's been partying while he's been injured, which at some point we have to address whether that, because generally it's known that if you're out, you need to rest and stuff. Like you can't.
Yep. No, they said he basically came out and was like, yeah, Mendy's gonna have to, after the most recent partying shit, which he was available for the match, but he didn't get selected because he was out that Friday until like 3:30 in the morning. And so Pep said, I'm not gonna play him. And then after Zinchenko got injured, he was like, well, I gotta play him out of necessity. So that's where he's at.
So he should have played him out of necessity. And
he's gonna get run in one of these games coming up.
You know what? Really, if you're Pep, you're gonna be like, I'm not gonna talk about that. That's a private matter. Like, stop trying to sound like you're the strong man when you know you're not into confrontations. He's not gonna talk to the dude. Everything we know about Pep tells you he won't. And when he needs him to play, he's gonna put him in and he's gonna tell one of his assistant coaches to tell him what to do.
Yeah, Arteta.
Do
that. Handle that.
It's like, I don't speak that kind of black. Mikel, go talk to him.
He's African, right? He's not French.
Yeah, he's like, no, I don't do that. Catalonia will not allow me to do that.
But with all that being said, man, Tottenham came through and scored a goal too.
Came through, got the shutout.
Son got the goal. Scored on Delph.
After scored on fucking Manchester City, man. It wasn't just Delph.
Yeah, for sure.
Scored on Ederson.
He did. He jammed it right down his throat.
Exactly. But before this happened, Harry Kane got injured in an injury that, in my opinion, was of his own doing.
Absolutely.
Like, they did treat him like fucking shit and got dirty before that. But on that particular play, I wouldn't advise you throw yourself in there like that. Delph didn't look for him.
What is he even gonna do at that point?
Yeah, like he wasn't looking to hit him or whatever. Like it just happened. But to come back after that and show the poise, and then the Lucas introduction, and they didn't miss a beat. And I was like, dude, you know how we talked about earlier in the season how Man City be beating some of these teams in the tunnel?
Yeah.
Pochettino got them ready. Like, they were not losing this shit.
So one thing to rewind as well, since we're talking, this is a good moment to talk about it. We were debating the 7-point cushion that Tottenham had at the top of the Premier League, and I was like, oh, that's not safe. And you're like, no, it's pretty safe. And the only thing, my reasoning was wrong, because I said it was because of the injuries that they're going to struggle. They fucking won all those games. And as soon as fucking Kane came back.
Reintegrating big-time players into teams in most sports, like unless you like baseball or something where you don't interact with each other and you just go and hit.
Well, let's at least ask this question. I brought all that up to ask this question about Tottenham, though.
Okay.
They seem to thrive when he's out almost every time. We talk about Kane like, oh my God, but if they lose Kane,
but they were thriving in this game when he was in too, though.
Oh, for sure.
Like, they didn't get better when he was out. In fact, they looked a lot better when he was in. They still got the result, but it's not despite, you know what I'm saying? Like, they looked really good with him playing. Like, he was running things with the...
he does a lot on the field.
Exactly. And they got the result, don't get me wrong, but I think that they would still play all much, like, you being a City fan, yes, they do get a lot of results. But like, our take not having that dude.
Hey, he goes to the midfield, he retrieves balls, he makes awesome passes. Like, I mean, like, yeah, get that motherfucker off the field.
Yeah,
no doubt.
But just the thing is, a lot of people are like, oh shit, Kane is not playing, and they kind of turn off. Where it's a completely different style now, because Son runs very directly at you, and like once you're cognizant of that, you might be able to control him, but. A lot of people think it's the same style of football when they lose it, and it's like, oh shit, they just lost Kane. That means that they're just gonna fall off. Like, they completely change how they play, and they're kind of used to it now.
The one thing I'll say about City is that they have won they had won like 13 in a row or something crazy like that before this game, and you feel like only time will tell if what he did in this match was proper. But I felt like City can lose 2 games and 2 draws for the rest of the year. And I was like, that's the most they could do. Maybe lose one in the league, and they can probably lose one in the Champions League. So it's almost like
they don't have that one right now. They have to earn that, lose it in the Champions League. Cause
I agree. I mean, at this point, and
if it's next game, then like, whoop,
it's a wrap. It's a wrap. No, it's a guarantee. But I wonder, like, it's hard to look at this game without seeing what goes on. I'm even interested to see who he lines up against Crystal Palace this weekend, considering the team that he ran out this week and the fact that he has Tottenham 2 games back to back. Like, you can't play De Bruyne in all 3 of those, or maybe you can. I don't know. Did you save him? Was that the goal here? Was that partially the goal to not introduce him? Like you said,
I'm totally with you, and I hope something like that. Or is it going to be like a De Bruyne and Leroy Sané invasion for the next 3 games, and we're just going to overdose on these cats? Like, is that what's going to happen? Because
otherwise, that made no sense. Yeah, well, what did you save them?
Why did you save them? Why are they on these pay packages? Like, explain to me a lot more things. You know, I'm like, the whole time, like. I told you this fucking game needs KDB, and you're like, I assumed he was going to be a halftime sub. Like, because everybody did. Yeah, we assumed he was going to be a starter to begin with when we didn't see Bernardo. It was like, what the fuck is Kevin De Bruyne? He's been back, so why not play him?
Yep. Like you said, man, a lot of questions. So
I think that Pep was much more afraid of their defensive failings and tried to cover those positions than actually trying to unlock anything that Tottenham had to give him. And I think that that's a disservice when you have the better team.
Yeah, I agree. No, I agree. Hell yeah, I agree. I mean, especially we talk about the importance of the goals and the away goals. Tottenham's going to have chances at the Etihad.
They had a fucking...
And if they're going to score,
they
score 1
in the first half.
Now you got to score 3.
Yeah, and like in the first half, like the City had more possession, but Tottenham outshot them. Yep. Like by a lot. I don't think City even
so they're banking on 3 goals or a shutout, and those are, not out of the realm of possibility, but those aren't the easiest things to achieve against a squad like Tottenham in Champions League. So we'll see.
I don't know. Like, okay, they had 13 total shots. Tottenham did, but like if you look at the first half, they had 8 shots, and City had 4. With just 1 on target. They had. Matched them big chance for big chance. They had 4 shots from inside the box of Manchester City. And they should have, they could have done a lot more damage in this game. Even though it must be said that City did have the ball for a majority of the game. Yeah. But they did nothing to it.
I was just going to say, similar to the United game, it wasn't like there was they were peppering Lloris or something.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, and that must be said, going back to Lloris, in the 12th minute, a VAR penalty, some would say kind of unfair, was given, but these days VAR seems it has to be kind of unfair. So, ball don't lie. Hugo Lloris stuffed the shit out of Aguero. I think he's the only
ass penalty, man.
Yeah, that was a good ass save too, though. Yeah, because even weak ass penalties go in a majority of the time. You know what I'm saying? Like when it gets saved, but dude just stuffed the shit out of it.
The height was weak. The power was weak.
It's gotta be when you get saved. Like there aren't people out here saving rockets, dude. Like you have to be a certain level of weak for it to be a save.
Yep. So on the other side of that bracket, the winner of that matchup will face the winner of Ajax Juventus, and this was a game that was at Ajax, and who cares about injury and coming back after months? We're going to start you anyway, Cristiano Ronaldo, and that's what you do. And
I never believed that Ronaldo wasn't injured.
Yeah. It's just resting him.
He's fucking 33 years old.
Yeah.
And
the league is
they have the league wrapped up since early November. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. What's he going to do? Run around there, try to get tackled? I think they're more afraid of the damage that playing in the Italian league games right before can do to him than they are of his actual injury. And they wanted him fresh, and he was fucking fresh.
So a goal in the 45th minute by Ronaldo was
They lost him in the marking. In that particular goal, it was a spectacular, nice finish, good cross, but he came in from deep, and I don't know how Ronaldo's running around for 20 meters directly at your goal and nobody picked him up. I don't get it.
I would say, in a very simple fashion, it's the one area of his game that he's totally dominant on Messi, his headers.
True. Indivisible, yeah.
But
that's kind of the tiebreaker between Shaq and Jordan too.
Basically, man.
He's like, have you ever broken a rim, motherfucker?
No. Nope. So that was answered, though, 46 minute by David Neres, and that was enough to get Ajax the draw here, although statistically, at least, they took it to him. They took it to him.
But by their style of play of Ajax is that they will come at you, and the style of this play of Juventus is that if you do, they'll take it. Yep. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like they're pressed to get the ball and like start making moves. They're trying to get Ronaldo the ball about 3 times. Yep. And that'll get them through.
Yep. And they got the away goal.
Yep. Like they're now 0-0 now. We'll get them through.
Yep.
At home.
Yeah,
so
Juventus is good for that. Chiellini not in this game.
But we had the same conversation last round, and then they came back and fucking stomped on Real Madrid because they were actually behind.
Yep.
2-1.
They were. Yeah.
To where Sergio Ramos decided he's going to even take a yellow card so that he can serve his suspension.
That's right. Oh, yeah. We'll just sit back on this.
It backfired so much that he also, I think, got time added to it so that he could serve sometime next season.
That's right. Yeah, he did. Nice. Well, that tie looks totally delectable, man. Ajax Juventus going back tied to Turin. Everything happens next week, man. So we'll see you here next Thursday as well.
It's super exciting because like nobody finished it off. Like Liverpool should be most comfortable, and this is the reason why everybody was on their knees praying that they would get Porto because you can do this, you know.
You can do this, yep.
But they really handled their business. They didn't get messy and give up a away goal. Now they just gotta go finish the business. It's easier than than a lot of the other ties, but every other tie,
totally open.
It's fucking open.
Woo, good stuff.
I'm hoping that on game day, fucking David is one of these Portuguese dudes gets a goal in the 4th minute, so that the Liverpool game gets lit too.
Yeah.
But I still want them to pass through because I think that football-wise, they're going to be much more entertaining to watch in the next round.
When was the last time? Do you have any recollection of Liverpool Barcelona? No, I'm getting ahead of myself, but
Liverpool Barcelona,
that 05 team.
Yeah, when Victor Valdez caught the ball and landed inside of his own goal, and that was the away goal difference. And then Liverpool went to the final and fucking won it.
Against AC, that was the
when they went 3-1, 3-0 down, and then it was like a simple catch. He kind of caught it, and then he landed, and then the ball had crossed the line. And he's like looking to who to pass it to and shit, and it's like, nah, dude, you done fucked up.
You done fucked that up. Woo! No doubt. Well, that's the match, man. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate anyone who takes the time to check us out. Don't forget, posting every Thursday after Champions League. That will be next week. See you next week. Monday, regular episode. See you then. Sir Solomon, yes?
Chelsea, Liverpool. Does the Sleepy G incident happen again? Does Liverpool's season end in Chelsea against Chelsea?
Please,
what happens?
Please, Blues, give us some help.
Let's see. Mo Salah seems like he's finished his Ramadan fast. He started scoring again. So hopefully he brings his game. Eden Hazard has been rested today in the Europa League.
And you know how he likes to come and play against the big 6 teams. No doubt. So divingforglory.com, iTunes, YouTube, check us, and at Diving for Glory at Twitter, Facebook, and that's it, man. We out. See you Monday.
Peace.
not a man. There's nothing more to say.
Diving it.
Glory.